the fitness level and now me kind be athletic almost say would you believe say Reece James now he lives closer to Cobham Chelsea for training facility no simply because he wants to improve his fitness level. Now here 2023-24 when should I get because of injury no about just 10 games, but this season which is 25-26 no already we're about 26 so and the percentage of minutes played is 69.2. Compare that with previous seasons, which means the guy wants to do something to help the club. Name the conversations of can he maintain the leadership qualities, because your captain Sebibi Enkoya, people want to see him vocalize. We see that more Enzo Fernandez more than Reece James more.
But Josh, I don't know. So you're a leader and you're vocal, and then you're a leader.
Also, a question I will be something. The person I can give a critical or typical example is Kwesi Appiah. Kwesi Appiah throw book be. Also, leaders don't yell. But the thing is that say you're a leader. Now bibi enkoye. Now we don't see any action from you. Say try so be correcting yama. Sometimes the questions eba. I want to say because he has
how to deal with go situation now, bano.
Intina me pay Reece James asem no because obe make comments bi a. Obe kwa dwen ho. As no hu baby a boy no ofriba. Which is why I want to believe that most of his leadership qualities may be exhibited off the field. And in Chelsea now, no, I think they celebrate a lot more leaders in terms of the differences in the team rather than just one person. It is Enzo Fernandez now on the field of play. Obey issue instructions, sir. Say I don't say Reece James is not a good captain. It only means that on the field of play we have somebody who is more pragmatic. Because say, hey, you say. To say whom say, Jurgensen, a mistake now against PSG. Enzo Fernandez criticizing on the field. You see, so that is one thing I will say. It's me commending Reece James on that he has dedicated his life to the club and he really wants to do something for Chelsea before his time is done. Now, Rich, and now, me who say Alexander Pavlovich, a player be at Chelsea to sign for next season. Now, I was a bit surprised because Chelsea, it looks like they are not even really lacking central or even defensive midfielders. Alexander Pavlovich, Obama, Bayern Munich. Now, Ocean the performance this season in most of the games on board full 90 minutes. But he has covered a lot of area on the pitch. Anka Chelsea Obiseya, it lessens the burden on a player like Reece James. Adebia, it's me in a free right back. Yet the number boss central midfield and a defensive central midfield. It's also here idea I was say because Pavlovich say he is already an integral member of the Bayern Munich setup. So what is the rationale bringing him into Chelsea? Is it that Omon trusted Romeo Lavia Bima? Don't they trust Dario Esuwo Bima? Or are they looking to move on from them, looking at the fact that both of them are also injury prone this season? Boy. So Pavlovich, idea we have to keep our eyes on him. Now, Rich, still on Chelsea. Liam Rosinha, there was a he's on top of issues. Now, game of money PSG boy over the last week there, na enye crown. I'm off for baby I can say when you look closely at how he should have managed the game, he could have done better. So, and the game of money Newcastle Bebo, I am projecting that he must go all out. Will he go all out? Because the mindset and the mentality could also be say he can get something out of the PSG game, which I think he cannot. So focus on Newcastle, but can he get the result? It will depend on how he manages his games. And a lot of Nkofonso can say the managerial job at Chelsea came too early for him. I agree. On his press conference, he speaks well. But pressure now about with Chelsea, Jumano. A 2 year didn't say they are to say, it's difficult to defend him, especially when the mistake sometimes is clearly coming from him. Because game normally PSG boy, you know. It was very clear. So at the point when the game was 3-2, no, you could have decided, say, okay, boys, let's sit back.
And manage the game. Let's finish. Let's take 3-2 to the Stamford Bridge and see what we can do over there. But who be going to use your paper move him and the Liam the lap ebaye? Omo be there will match him. Big question. Until Liam Rosinia, this game, Newcastle Bebo, it is very important that he manages the game well. Otherwise, pressure will mount on him. And I can imagine, so, a bot draw, Krana, and also lose the game against Newcastle. You can imagine going into the midweek, only PSG. No, Sako lose and no Sukawa. Then there will be conversation of sacking. Okay, so Josh, as a Chelsea fan and then as a pundit,
yeah,
all feels at this point. Chelsea more focus on the game, you know, Paris Saint-Germain.
Paris Saint-Germain
because I'm the
Enfa. Meaning say Chelsea for Bebre will disagree with me, and some of them are so confident say remontada no bebaso. But when say remontada no, and Uncle so akofa ye past games ye Napoli ye share omo. That is in the past. The caliber of players and the experience they had to play in the Champions League was different from Yanum Fui.
Okay.
Only you're too young. But it's also very clear. So this weekend, Chelsea for me say, I brought your friend of William Esteval because of the influence he has. In fact, our game no more against PSG will be different because we saw how he played against Barcelona. He was an integral member. But what will happen? We live to see. Joao Pedro this season was 14 goals. What I say, and also the Biameka said Chelsea best step it up at the remaining part of the season. We are a lot to depend on Joao Pedro. Now, so Timisha Gola, I bet 1 year at least going into the midweek. No, they will try and fancy their chances of winning or trying to bring a shock out of PSG match. No, now Pedro Neto so has been targeted as a shock transfer away from Chelsea, and then the price tag normally are going to say 52 million. Maybe Samia, I don't think Pedro Neto should leave. But on the Chelsea for more than this year, no, acquired it ton type. Pedro Neto will be 24, 23 years. I think it's 24 years. Why don't they allow him to play? Oh, because se unya player say na at least enye say obeshe go kwana or more assists. It's better to have a player like this in your team for squad depth than say oh the price tag better so oh tono obo match back na wanya de yes so wanya de. Now ushe very closely at this season Chelsea that has been the narrative. Play with me ya there 3 weeks continuous 2 weeks bana so wentibe nyago anase wentibe nya assist anase ne modern bono enko year yes yen tono. I don't think that's the way to go. Well, it's the 52 million price tag on Pedro Neto. No, I really don't know how Chelsea want to manage the players this season or even moving forward. But you're moving from Enosua, not yet the Antoine Semenyo, any Manchester City, Diano, and Nebim. Now he has won the Player of the Month in February. Rich Antoine Semenyo, the conversation around him right now, and they say, oh, back to the Black Stars, can he replicate the same form? That is the question with Semenyo. We are all happy with what he's doing at Man City. And we have seen, say, he's transforming his play. But can he do that for the Black Stars? Because Player of the Month, there was not in doubt. It was not in doubt. Same for Pep Guardiola, our winning manager of the month. For the first time in 4 years, na Ontimi Winibi, even though he had won 2 league trophies over the period. So what I say, the last time winning manager of the month was December 2021. After I was saying Winibium after 4 years, right? Into so many questions. Is it that not Omu modern Bonana? But I think he deserves it because of what they have done this season. Now, Oshe Antoine Semenyo 5 games, 3 goals, 1 assist at least so far for Manchester City. Now, Oshe Weya, it is something that they must be concerned about. Jeremy Doku, Phil Foden, Ryan Cherki, and Erling Haaland over the last few weeks, Doku, in the last 4 months, 0 goals. Phil Foden, in the last 3 months, 0 goals. Ryan Cherki, in the last 1.2 months, 0 goals. Erling Haaland, in the last 1 month, 0. And when we say Haaland, they know a pra.
But Haaland, no, I don't know. So, what game na the form and Yakrao?
Very bad. Now, share Omani.
BBI is 0-0.
Real Madrid.
Don't be mad.
Yeah.
pass on to maybe goals on to me.
Or one of the players once he becomes frustrated about what's happening on the pitch, he blacks out.
The reason City call Santiago Bernabeu, because of Halada, when he
was lost in the game,
he was totally lost.
Yeah,
it is a
which means what would have been the story for Manchester City? Would they have found the goals from elsewhere? Because they're showing now, and I'm now forward players. It's even the same.
For they said this season, when you say your start season no
on
in the middle of the season, also be PKB.
Yes,
when a City goes now, all of a sudden before them
drop it.
City team now. There's something wrong.
There's totally something wrong which needs to be figured out. Now, me name how they can do that before the season ends. Because already no Pep Guardiola and so I can ask them or say, or Kasembi Enra, or say Omunusu some match or money West Ham body they have lost the season. And I can see that his eyes are still on the Premier League trophy. Meaning say by now we give you up. After Omani Nottingham Forest about 2-2 no. Meaning say we give you up. But Rich, isn't that interesting? Mami Bissau, between Champions League now, say Omoko over 3-0 deficit, no. Any Premier League, no. And Kadiahi no prioritize it.
Prioritize this game.
But do you think so more chance so meeting we need Premier League, no? Man City.
No, this isn't it. Because you answer the last this same discussion. The Kasembi. The previous Man City now in the media and can make me a case on the league next year. But the season we Obia will follow a City team in and we say the City we all know the name.
It's not the City. Into what we say, if we drop points, it will be over.
City bear the league in India. In fact, Champions League is there is no way in which we are the Yoma film.
But
if you for the Kobo game we far, you move on.
But at the London Stadium, I think it's a bit in your points now.
Okay.
I think they can get the points. Because, I mean, West Ham United, and you're safe, almost on top. Almost struggle for relegation. Omode Nuno Espirito Santo Bemu, he has not really figured out how to use the team. And they have dropped a lot of points this season, even from at home. So I expect Manchester City beat Mienya. The point now, Rich, there's a big question at that Premier League teams. No, so you say you at least 5 teams in the Premier League in the round of 16 of Champions League, and almost no spending more on player sales, on player transfers from the summer coming into this season. But the question is, why is it say you results no? Especially first leg of round of 16 games now, boy, you know. Why are we not getting the performance? Because we're spending more there. And I was saying our squad depth no. A year more.
Me simple answer, me deba masa uncle for say it's football. Mate a lot of commentaries among foreign so Premier League ne overhype at the year. I must say this weekend result now the English clubs in the nine because of that in it no Premier League ne overhype.
Okay,
which is wrong. One of
situation.
Enti obi betu catch him say. Sisi aka say. Say teams now from Italy omo Champions League ni no mo film. Na ka Atlanta pe. Atlanta so tifie me ya chance 6-1. Which it means say yeah quiet no. Yeah one team from the Serie A.
Yeah.
So does that make the Serie A
a bad league?
No. Football sometimes your season you on ma benya sa upset no. But it doesn't make yes, on a fair value there.
Yeah.
So because of result now but this is one of.
But Rich, can we also say also more because the Premier League teams are spending sika. Can we also talk about the fatigue? Because say almost now more games. Chelsea bought so many games.
And will be.
It's between fatigue and sika arguments being now. Yes, amount for more people are concerned about the fact say Premier League teams are spending more money than the fatigue. Because what's spending sika, so squad depth. I was so team rotate. But still your players are tired.
It's in a nutshell,
okay. Into league race no. that's so you're active. This weekend, Saturday, 5:30, Arsenal and Everton. Big game. Arsenal will win, but I expect say Everton ebeche amount for any kakra with the performance.
Okay.
Yes, it will not be to score Arsenal or Emirates, but they will try and catch an eye. On person being a free match, but I think Arsenal should be comfortable winning that game. And London Stadium, Manchester City, and West Ham United. Now Yashe the ebe free a hono swaba. Now someone who said all these trophies are still up for grabs.
For Arsenal.
Both Arsenal and Manchester City.
City there you free no team na njedanye is. City this season I want to make trophyless with games no more bono. Team na njedanye convinces. Okay. Yes. Inti na into a jumadi ni insurance of 4.5 Joshua Holly 2 Edna Martin and Katze or de Aquaman Bismarck or Usubempa